Hey everyone, we're back with more question and answers. This morning I'll start with Fatinil Mata asked about a child with autism and apraxia. And I never pretend to be a expert on kids with special needs. So all I can say is if you are dissatisfied with the service that you're getting in the educational system and you think that you can do better at home, I would recommend definitely bringing your child home and possibly using the resources that the system offers. That would be a very personal choice, of course, and I can't really give you advice on that. But I do think that you may know your child better than a teacher or even a professional. You may know what your child needs, individual attention. So I would just, you could call me if you needed a consultation on that matter, and maybe we could talk specifically about what you could do at home for your child. But I honestly don't have any experience in that. I'll go on to Sonja 1803, asked about homeschooling her 8-year-old. Thank you for your kind words. We love making these videos. And she wanted to know specifically about copywork being the only way to teach spelling. In the beginning, we did try and do, spelling tests every Friday. And I quickly delegated that to the older kids, helping the little kids, and they liked being quote unquote tested and maybe getting a prize for getting a good grade. But it wasn't something that I felt like I had to spend my time on. It was kind of busy work. So if your child likes spelling tests and being tested and it's a fun thing and you like rewarding them for that, sure, you can do spelling words. But kind of like we did in school, we would, I remember being told to incorporate a word in a sentence, or maybe the words spellingless in a story. However you want to do it, the main thing is that it's fun. We found out that if the kids just read all the time and practice their writing every day, especially if they're learning to type using Microsoft Word, and then my son the other day recommended Grammarly. That's how we basically teach language arts, and spelling is just through writing every day. And copy work is at the beginning when they don't feel like they know enough words to make a complete sentence. Anytime they want to pretend they're writing and write out words, even if they're completely misspelled where you can barely tell what they are, at least they're putting forth effort. They can turn in some kind of quote unquote writing for a very young child, and then you can rewrite it for them and then they copy that. So even though that is considered copy work, it would be their original work. For instance, if they want to draw a picture and then write a story underneath, they could practice it on scrap paper and then you could help them and then they can copy it. So copy work isn't just out of a book. It would be out of maybe their favorite book or something that they have composed, an original work. And we like to keep those notebooks. It's so fun to go back years later and see how much their writing has improved. Liz Beavers 9042 asked about if we have an organized phonics curriculum, and of course she references the same book we always do, Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. After that, I've said this many times, in the back of the book there's a list of early readers or beginning reader books that they say is second grade level. After that, we make it entirely up to the student, with the exception of when they reach high school age or high school level work, which in our case, and in many cases could be as early as 8, 9 years old, when you want to assign reading that you consider high school level work to meet a requirement like history books or science books, or any kind of literature if you're putting together a high school course to give them credit for. So that's the only time when as the teacher, you would recommend or say you need to read this book because it fulfills a requirement. And hopefully by that time your child is mature enough to see it as a requirement. But before that, it's up to you if you want to order additional phonics curriculum. What we always say about curriculum is that you are tied to it, that you have to give yourself permission and the freedom to skip ahead as your child needs to skip ahead, or review areas and take it slow where they need extra work. But I would hate for anyone to spend hundreds of dollars on curriculum and then feel like you have to do every page and fill in every blank. And that is not what we're trying to do. We just want to keep it fun and interesting and challenging. Not challenging and frustrating, but challenging and fun. Studies have shown that a child can maybe read way above the grade level with a little bit of help. Maybe if the work is challenging but they're very interested. For instance, if you want to do some of Shakespeare's works, you may want to have the child read it out loud to you so that you can be there to explain what's going on and help them with pronunciation. So that's not really curriculum, but it is recommended reading that your child might need help with to fulfill a high school requirement. But before that, I would just say keep it light, keep it fun. Renneek3186 wanted to know, I think this is a student, says this person's about to graduate and is concerned that transcripts need to be embossed for colleges to accept them. And I have not found that to be true. I've said this before, a transcript is going to be seen as valuable if the university admissions person values it. So it's very subjective. If you're applying to a homeschool friendly university, they will look at your transcript and accept it on the basis of that they believe homeschooling is valid. If the school is cynical or doubtful or wants something more, then you'll have to produce something more if you want to meet the requirements to attend that university. If they give you a hard time, you could always take your money and time elsewhere. As far as being embossed, the only time I think that you can have something that's stamped as official would be if you're taking a certain course and you're turning in grades. And there are many of those out there. I can't think of any names right now, where you would be turning in your schoolwork to some kind of an umbrella school. And that's great if that's what you want to do, if you want your transcript to be quote unquote official and not just a homeschool transcript. That's totally a personal preference. There'll probably be some cost involved. But my bigger concern than that is that some of those outside organizations or institutions that are going to certify your transcript may slow you down. They may say you can only take this course if you're a certain age, and they may also require or have a time requirement. So if you choose to be part of some kind of organization that's going to certify your transcript, I personally would recommend that choose one that's going to let you skip grades and accelerate as you need it so that you can graduate when you're ready and not on their time frame. So if you need more help with transcripts and such, you can always contact us for a consultation. Noel Sa4 wanted to know about us. Do we have to pay for college courses out of pocket, and whether it's covered through, and I'm not sure what that acronym means. However, it's a common question. So I will say it depends, and it might be minimal. If it's a junior college, it's going to be very inexpensive. We don't have a lot of those here in Alabama, We did in California though. If it's a dual enrollment program for high school students, sometimes the cost may be as low as $99 per course. That used to be the case at Faulkner University here in Montgomery. You can go online and see if they still offer that. But for the most part, we like to graduate our high school students as young as possible so that they can qualify for financial aid and get Pell Grants, which is free money, and or student loans. So that is unfortunately how we have financed our courses for our students. And yes, all of our students have student loan debt, but they are also graduating early and earning better wages than if they had just, come out of high school and were working at the exact same age. So at 17, 18, with master's degrees, their earning potential is much higher. And so they have the means to pay back their student loans. And I know there are a lot of you out there that don't believe in that, and that's fine. It's a personal choice. These are just some random things that I wanted to add in this video. Things that I love to do as you're driving down the road and you're homeschooling throughout your day. There are a lot of conversations that you can have just in as the day goes on. Whenever we're in an office and we're filling out forms, or we get mail, we're filling out forms. I have in the past asked my kids to fill out their own forms. And when you go to a doctor's office and they ask for medical history, just being sure that your child knows how to fill out forms. It's something that we do in adult life, and we choose to let our kids do it as young as possible. Of course, making sure they can print legibly, and it's a good time to practice that. We have them memorize their social security number, their addresses, phone numbers, of course. Some kids, I'm not that big on practicing cursive, but obviously they need to be able to sign in cursive. And there was a time when they had to write out a statement for the ACT, and it had to be in cursive. So that was a time for a crash course in making sure that their cursive was legible. And when my kids had a checkup recently, there was a question in there about a depression scale. This was not a pediatric office, it was just a family practice office. And they actually had to answer questions, like, have you had thoughts of hurting yourself? Do you feel depressed? And a scale from 1 to 10, how they feel. And so these were some, it was a learning, a time for learning there and explaining why they would be asking that, why it's common now when you go to a doctor's visit. So that leads into a lot of conversation. They had their blood pressures checked, and of course it was very different than mine because of their age. So in the office, they're Googling, what a average kid's blood pressure should be. So there's so much to talk about when your kids are with you all day, and there's so much learning that goes on. Just like I'm saying here, going to a doctor's visit. I had to teach them what a clean catch UA is, and anyone in the medical field may know what that is, and explain, why for a female you'd have how you would do that. So it's so much fun to teach about all these things. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe, share it. And if you're watching, we really need you to send some questions. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.